I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Dennis Gartman, publisher of the Gartman Letter. Thank you for joining me today.
It's my honor to be here. You obviously scraped the bottom of the barrel, and there I was. So.
I'm sure it'll be great. So to start off, you comment frequently on the oil market, and I
Yes.
wanted to begin by asking you about that. Prices are down since January, but OPEC says its cuts are working. Where are we at right now, in your opinion?
We're at a boring level. WTI is trading right around $52 a barrel. Brent is trading $57, $58 a barrel. I think it shall be very difficult to move WTI much above 55 in the nearby futures, because at that point, if there's any kind of carry involved, $55 to $56 for WTI makes it is eminently profitable for frackers out in West Texas and in the Dakotas. So I think it's going to be extraordinarily difficult to get crude oil much above $55 for nearby WTI. Therefore, it's going to be very difficult to get nearby Brent, much above $60 or $61 per barrel. There's plenty of supply coming at us. Demand seems to be strong, but not egregiously so. But the supply that can be brought on from wells that have been previously drilled but have been capped is enormous. So I think it's going to be difficult to get crude prices much higher, another $3 at the most. On the other hand, do I think it's going to fall very far from here? No, I think it's going to be very difficult to put West Texas Intermediate much below $45 unless something really untoward were to happen economically. So I think we're stuck in a relatively large range, and I think it could be really quite boring for a long period of time.
Okay, there's a big question mark, I think, about OPEC extending its cuts. You don't really think, what do you think?
Well, I think they will. I don't think there's any question. It's just a matter of how far will they extend them. Mr. Putin last week said he expected to see them extended past through the end of 2018. That's probably as far forward as anybody is rationally ready to extend. So they will be extended next year, but probably to the end of next year, to the end of 2018.
But still just not really having too much impact on
I think it shall have very minimal impact. I think it's fully discounted in price at this point.
Okay. So what about the bigger picture for oil? I saw you speak earlier in Vancouver this year, and one of the things you mentioned was the huge amount of untapped oil potential in different areas of the world.
Yes.
What does that mean for oil long term?
First of all, let's understand that the only wells that have been fracked of any consequence are here in the United States. We have learned how to frack extraordinarily well over the fracking is something. It's been in existence for over 100 years, to be honest. But we've only really learned how to use it properly and become very efficient at it here in the United States in the last 15 years. Everybody's going to steal that technology from us. The Chinese will steal it from us. The Australians will steal it from us. You in Canada will steal it from us. Everybody's going to learn how to frack much more efficiently. Let's understand that there has only been one fracked well thus far in Russia. There will be thousands of fracked wells in Russia in another 15 years. And there have been no fracked wells in Africa. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of fracked wells there. There have been no fracked wells in China. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of fracked wells. So the supply is coming. There will be abundant supplies coming at us. That's going to be the problem that the market has to deal with. The technology of drilling has become quite extraordinary in the past 15 years.
Okay, so along with that, there's other things going on too, like the rise of electric cars and green technology.
Yes.
So for investors, is there a way for them to play the market right now for
I'm
oil?
not sure that there is, because as I said earlier, I think you're going to be in a very boring trade for a long period of time. The only thing that makes some sense in a trade that's been working is that the crude oil futures, the term structure, without getting too esoteric, the term structure has moved from a contango where front month was below the back month, which was below the next month, which was below the next month. There was a carrying charge in crude oil. Now we've moved to what's known as a backwardation, where the front months are above the back months, and each month beyond that is at a lower price. You might want to continue to be a buyer of the front months and the seller of the back months, because that change to a backwardated market is going to continue. But other than that, I'm not sure there's great good fun to be had in the energy markets for a long period of time. On the other hand, I wouldn't mind being a refiner. I think being a refiner, I think the margins are going to be better and hold stronger over the course of the next several years. So the Valeros et al. Will probably do. If you have to take a position in Valero or one of the refiners. That's probably a better place to be than any place else.
Okay. What about gold? What is your stance on gold right now? I've heard some people say maybe we'll get to 1,400 by the end of the year, but is that a possibility? Or are we still stuck?
Anything's a possibility. Okay,
fair enough.
Anything's a possibility. Do I think it shall get to 1,400 by the end of this year? Likely not. Do I think it'll be at 1,400 or higher in the course of the next 2 years? Almost certainly so. I think it's been a bull market. People have not paid much attention to this fact, and I'm not a gold bug. Please don't misunderstand me. I can make cases for prices to move in almost any direction, but I think since people need to pay attention to the fact that since December of 2015, each low in gold has been higher, each high in gold has been higher. It's been a very quiet, very boring, very laborious bull market, but it's been a bull market. I think that the monetary authorities are going to continue to be expansionary in their policies. Yes, we had today, this is Thursday the 26th, and we see that the ECB has announced they will curtail their amount of expansionary reserves added to the system, but they've extended the time with which they're going to expand those reserves. I think that means that the monetary authorities are going to they're going to err upon the side of being continuously expansionary. I think inflationary numbers will be higher next year than this year, and therefore I think the trend on gold will be quietly higher. But will it be extraordinary? Will it be great good fun? Will it be anything like Bitcoin? No, I don't think so.
Okay. So just to wrap up, are there any other commodities you're looking at right now? Anything you like that you want to talk about?
I think that we need to pay attention to the fact that commodity prices relative to stock prices are preposterously, egregiously, stupendously, stunningly, comically low. And I think that over the course of the next year, the propensity of commodity prices to advance and for equity prices to decline is probably quite strong. I'm the chairman of a university's endowment. That's one of my jobs, and I have the ability and the privilege of being able to make changes in that endowment's philosophies. And one of the things that I've done there, it's only an endowment of a couple of $100 million, so it's not a $1 billion endowment, but it's enough for those of us who are involved in it. We had no exposure to commodities and had 80% of our exposure in the equity business. I've moved that from 80% exposure to equities to 70, and gone from zero exposure in commodities to 10. And I expect over the course of next year I'll raise that from 10 to 20 and cut the equity exposure from 70 to 60. So I think you want to be more involved in the commodity markets generally. And if I had to choose one area, the grains seem awfully cheap to me.
All right, well, that is all from me. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It was my privilege. You're a wonderful person, too. You're a great interviewer. It makes it very simple. Even I can sound relatively erudite. That's a wonderful talent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, too. Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod, and this is Dennis Gartman.